especially critical, accusing President Trump of violating his constitutional responsibility to uphold the law and protect democratic norms. Let's discuss with Democratic Congressman Ted Lieu of California. He is a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee and a U.S. Air Force veteran where he served in the JAG Corps. Congressman, thank you so much for being with us. I want to start on the broader strategy here for the United States and whether you think that the U.S. is today better positioned with Nicolás Maduro out of power and Chinese and Russian influence in the Western Hemisphere potentially weakening.
Well, if you want to talk about the broader context, let's just first say that we know that healthcare costs are skyrocketing, food prices are increasing, and electricity rates are surging. And what is Trump focused on? He's focused on, in his words, quote, running the country of Venezuela. That is insane. And the American people want the president to focus on what's happening in our country, not doing the bidding of oil companies. And in terms of, does this make America stronger? Well, we just put in Maduro's vice president, Delcy Rodriguez. She is now in charge of the country. It's the same Maduro regime. I'm not sure this changes very much.
I do want to ask you about that. I also wonder whether you think that this move potentially emboldens or validates China's ambitions in Taiwan or Russia's claims about Ukraine, given that the justification from the administration is that this is the Western Hemisphere, this is happening in our backyard, and those adversaries should be out of the picture.
Certainly, this illegal action by the president does also take away the moral argument that the United States had against China and Russia with respect to their aggressive actions towards other places and other countries. And it also weakens America if we were to view the world in terms of just hemispheres. The world is completely interconnected. And if you're going to enhance Russia in where it is, it's going to threaten Europe. And then if you're going to enhance China, it's going to threaten countries in the Pacific. So it's not good to view the world in just hemispheres. It is all interconnected.
Congressman, you mentioned that this was an illegal act by President Trump. What about claims from the administration that Maduro is not a legitimate ruler, that he's not the real head of state because he lost the last election, and that under the eyes of U.S. law, he's simply a wanted drug trafficker, and this is a law enforcement effort?
I've never seen a law enforcement effort that uses bombs and airplanes and Delta Force. So this is clearly a military operation as well. And if the president is going to use force against a sovereign nation, he needs to get the approval of Congress. Congress never authorizes action. We were never told about it beforehand. We never authorized his use of force. It's simply flat out illegal. And again, the American people want the president focused on helping our economy. That's why, according to Reuters poll, only 1 in 3 Americans support this operation. Instead of helping our economy, the president, again, is helping oil companies, and that is wrong.
I do want to ask you, as you noted a moment ago, about Delcy Rodriguez, the interim president in Venezuela. A very interesting character, given that she is an avowed leftist, that she was handpicked by Maduro, that she came out saying that Venezuela will not be a colony or slaves to the United States. Last night, she put out a statement saying that she would be open to some form of cooperation. Clearly, administration officials, people that have spoken to CNN as sources, they have confidence that she is going to allow entry to U.S. oil companies, that she is going to apparently at some point facilitate some kind of democratic process, as the president put it last night on Air Force One. Do you think that she has struck some kind of deal for protection with the United States? Why else would she seek to execute the Trump administration's vision for Venezuela if she herself, her entire background is refuting that?
So first of all, thank goodness none of our brave military personnel died in this operation, but several, in fact, were injured. And according to Venezuela, approximately 40 people in Venezuela died. And so if the president is going to use military force for oil acquisition, he's got to get the approval of Congress. We can have a debate on this. Should we use our military to just go to different parts of the world and try to help oil companies get oil? We can have a debate on that, but he can't just send in military force to do that. So this is simply a legal operation. And how did Iraq work out when we went out there to get oil? I mean, presumably, according to reports, Iraqi officials also cooperated with the U.S., and that was an endless war. And so the fear is that this may not work out in Venezuela. And again, it's the same regime that Maduro put in place. We now have his handpicked successor in place. I don't see how this changes very much.
What should the U.S. do then to guarantee that there will soon be democratic elections in Venezuela?
Well, we should absolutely push for democratic elections. And by the way, the person who was elected democratically, the Trump administration is not supporting. The person who is not allowed to run, Machado, the administration is also not supporting. So the administration is basically supporting the same brutal regime that Maduro put in place. And so I don't really understand what the administration's strategy is. And that's because the president hasn't articulated a strategy. Look, it's really easy to use our amazing military to accomplish amazing missions. It's always the day after that America has a lot of problems figuring out. And it's this day after that the president and the administration has not articulated as to what the end goals even are.
Lastly, Congressman, what questions do you think your colleagues should be asking the administration officials that are briefing some lawmakers later, including administration officials, I should note, like Secretary Marco Rubio?
Well, Secretary Marco Rubio needs to explain why he lied straight up to Congress. I was in the classified briefing where Secretary Rubio looked us in the eye and said basically the use of military force would not occur without first coming to Congress to get an authorization for the use of military force. He straight up lied to Congress. He needs to explain to himself, to us, why he did what he did.
Congressman Ted Lieu, we have to leave the conversation there. We appreciate your time and you sharing your perspective.
Thank you.
Still to come, the capture of Nicolás Maduro marking the first time in decades the U.S. has intervened in Latin America. How this operation differs from past efforts